good morning, beautiful, blessed people of God. Happy. Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to each and every one of you. I hope and I pray that all is well in your hearts, in your minds, your bodies, your spirits, your souls. Um, I'm sleeping, but I'm here. I'm here. I've been gone for a couple of days, but I am here. To God be the glory. I've been up. Okay, let me not tell no lies on here. My alarm clock went off at 6. It was my intention to get up at 6 a.m. That is what my um rhythm or whatever, that was my suggestion, that I should wake at 6 a.m. And so the alarm clock went off at 6 a.m. Oh, sorry, Instagram. I keep forgetting to hit the go live button. It's been a couple of days. Y'all got to give me some grace. Um, you got to give me some grace for this journey. All right, well, come on, Instagram. All right, I don't know if Instagram is Okay, are you responding, Instagram? Okay, Instagram finally responded. Thank you. Welcome, Instagram. So you got to give me some grace. But anyhow, so I set my alarm clock for 6 o'clock this morning. That was my intention to get up. And yeah, my body was like, I still need to sleep. When I hit my snooze button, that's my signal for myself to pray. And I fell asleep. And so the alarm clock kept going off. And I was like, Shaniqua, you're supposed to be productive here. You're not supposed to be actually sleeping during the snooze. You're supposed to be praying. So it took me a minute for my mind to wake up and for me to get myself together. And by the time we did all of that, honey, it was 7 o'clock. But I did get up and do some of the things that were recommended. And in case you're like, what are you talking about, Shaniqua? Firstly, I say good morning to everyone. Welcome back to me for being here. I was away for a few days because of my travel. There are certain times of the year where my travel tends to pick up, and so I have to be accommodating to that. Good morning, Joyanne. Blessings to you. Happy Tuesday to you. I pray that everything is well in your world. So I traveled this past weekend. I traveled the weekend prior to that. So I have really haven't come down and fully processed everything from the previous weekend. And then it was like, boom, here we are with this weekend that just passed. And my body is like, what? Like my body is in stun mode, but I am here. So quickly, just to recap you on what I was talking about, there is this app. There's this app that I see ads for, because when you're on social media, you when you're on social media, that's what you see. You see ads. I see majority ads. I see less of what you all are posting. So if I'm not engaging with your stuff, please don't hold it against me. I'm not seeing it. I'm literally not seeing it. Now, one of the ways you can do to get people to see it is to engage with them. So you have to be intentional. You have to be purposefully saying, I'm going to go look for this person who is my friend, and I'm going to go on their page. I'm going to like their stuff so that the algorithm can say, hey, this is who she wants to see. So if I'm not engaging, it's because I don't see it. My look, I'm not even going to apologize for it because it's not my fault. But if you come, you engage with me, then it will put your stuff on my page, and then I can engage with you. Unless I take a moment in time to purposely go for people and engage with them. But nonetheless, what I do see on a regular basis is the ads. Why? Because your girl stops and looks at it, like they grab my attention. And sometimes I even click, I look in the comments, I look at, whatever the website is. So that is what the algorithm thinks I'm on social media for, to buy stuff, to search for things to buy. And they could be, that could be further from the truth. Like, it's just something that catches my eye while I'm looking for my people's stuff. But nonetheless, I saw this ad for this app. There was this app that I saw an ad for. Good morning, Howard 91 Teresa on Instagram. So I seen this ad for this app, and the app is called, should I say the name of it? Yeah, I'm gonna say the name of the app. The app is called Rise. It's called Rise app. Um, and so basically the premise behind the app is that it gives you, like, you're supposed to fill out all of this information, and it will give you the time, the morning, like the time you should be waking up in the morning, the time you should be going to sleep at night, some suggestions for things, possibly some suggestions of things that you should be doing during the day. And basically what that is to kind of reset your nervous system so that your body can release whatever the weight it is holding on to. And so I saw that ad, and I decided that I'm not going to get, and matter of fact, I think I did tell you guys about this last week, that I'm not going to get locked into, um, whatever they want to upsell me to. So I decided that I was going to ask ChatGPT, right? Because that's my boyfriend. So I was like, whoa, what do you think I should do? And it asked me a bunch of questions, and it came up with a time frame. And so the time that it suggests that I get up is at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if it's allergy. I don't know if it's hormones. I don't know if it's perimenopause. I don't know what it is. But for some reason, 6 o'clock is a really hard wake up. Now, if I got to go to the airport, we make it do what it do. But if not, if there's no airport that requires my presence at that time, getting up at 6 is tricky. It's tricky for me. But I'm trying, right? I'm trying. So this morning, I set my alarm clock. I got up, well, it went off at 6. I made it out of my bed at 7. And then once I was up and out of my bed, I did do what it recommends. So one of the recommendations is, recommendations is that I go outside. So once you, good morning, I can't even see, Nay, I can't even see what the name is completely, but good morning to you. So I got up and I went outside. So that's the recommendation. So it's about getting that natural dose of vitamin D first thing in the morning. And the recommendation for me, I don't know if it would be different for anyone else, but for me, the recommendation is to get 10 to 15 minutes outside. No, yes, 10 to 15 minutes outside, 10 to 15 minutes after you wake up. That's the way it was. So after I wake up, 10 to 15 minutes later, I should be outside. Now, for most of us, we don't do that. Like, we get up, we go in the bathroom, we jump in the shower, we start making breakfast, we iron clothes, we get the kids up. But like, so we do a whole Broadway production before we get out the door. Good morning, Teresa. So we do all of that before we even get out of the door. However, this app recommends that you get that 10 minutes of outdoors, like 10 minutes after you've waken up. So you've got just enough time, go in the bathroom, splash some water on your face, brush your teeth, and get outside. And that is what I did on today. Good morning, Carol. Blessings to you, Queen. So that is what I did today. I, like, it took me a minute to get up out of the bed. That was a whole hour long process, but I finally did get up out of the bed. You know what? That's what I thought, Tasha. I thought that, but I couldn't see my vision and everything was backing off. But thank you. I'm so glad that you are on this morning. Blessings to you. Oh, and by the way, I saw Sarah this weekend. Yay! So that's a blast from the past. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So I made my way out of the house, right, to get that natural vitamin D 10 minutes after I had woken up. So yes, me and my alarm clock, we did this whole cat and mouse thing. We did this whole cat and mouse thing on for an hour. But then once I was officially up, and I hope that counted, once I was officially up, then I did go outside. And when I first stepped out on my porch, it was a sunny day, but the sun wasn't like shining, it wasn't beaming on my porch. And so I was just sitting there, and then moments later, all of a sudden it seemed like the sun just appeared. The sun just appeared. And it felt like it was just like beaming, like right here. And immediately in my spirit, it felt like a kiss from God. And I was like, wow, that felt nice. Because I'm sitting out there and I'm like, Jesus, what am I supposed to be doing? Right. So I figured this was a good time for me. And I don't know if I should, or maybe I should need to go back and ask ChatGPT if I should be out there checking emails and looking at Facebook. But I was like, hey, I'm out here. It's a good time to just, sit and chill. And maybe I can wake up my Facebook algorithm. Good morning, Sissy. Blessings to you. So I was like, maybe I should wake up my algorithm. But immediately when I felt that sun like hit right here on the side of my face, and my spirit was like, that's a kiss from God, I immediately like put the phone down. And I just sat there, eyes closed, head up, and I took my kiss from God. Ooh, and it felt so good. And then it was like the sun just kind of moved on. Like God just went and kissed somebody else. He was like, all right, baby girl, like I'm here. I'm moving on. And so I got back on the phone, started doing, whatever I was doing. And then here it came again on this side. And I dropped the phone again, and I just stood there and I received my kiss from God. And then as soon as it passed, I went back to doing what I was doing. So it was a beautiful feeling. And that, I want to say, that happened 4 times. Like it would come and go, come and go, come and go. And you're right, Joyanne, that's a good idea. Like what to do during that time, stand out there, stretch, do whatever. Now, if I were in the backyard, which I can't get in my backyard, that's a whole nother story. But if it were in my backyard, yes, I probably could sit out there, stretch. I could probably sit out there, pray, meditate, whatever. But in my front yard, nah, you kind of want to have eyes open because my front is on the street. So, you're still I'm still in New York, right? I'm in a house, but I'm in New York. So you got to be a little watchful. You don't know who coming by, who driving by, cars riding by with their booming systems, all of that stuff. So I was just kind of checking my phone and things as such until I received my kiss. And when I received my kiss, it was just a moment of where are your priorities? Right? At that moment in time, the algorithm was not the priority. At that moment in time was to receive what it was I was there for. So I was grateful to be able to receive some kisses from God this morning. And then I was like, okay, it's time to pack it up and come back in. And so I feel good. My day I still feel a little tired, which is fine because I've had the past 2 weekends have been extremely busy. And so I still feel a little bit tired. And but I did get work done. So I immediately started doing my work. And did I get it all done? Yep, I got all my work done that I needed to do first thing this morning. And so I said, okay, we're in good time to get on a live and say what the Lord wants me to say here. And then I'm gonna take a nap, right? Or at least I'm gonna lay my body down and I'm gonna rest. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So so it was a great start to my day. And what the app actually recommends, they recommend that you go out there. Now, yesterday, I did make an attempt to go out there yesterday, but yesterday it was raining. So it does, the app does recommend, the app ChatGPT does recommend that you go outside every day, like regardless of what the weather is, because even if you don't see the sun, we know the sun is there, right? That can preach all by itself. The sun is always there. The sun does its job. It shows up, it does its job, but will you be in a position to receive it? And so yesterday it was raining when I got up. And I was like, nah, I ain't going out there in the rain. I'll go out there when it's an overcast, cloudy day. I might even get out there when it's cold out. I said, but I'm not going to go out there in the rain. Why? Because my body had already been around people. I was traveling. I was on airplanes. I was at conferences. Like I was doing a whole lot. I did not need to add sitting out in the rain. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Okay. Yes. So ChatGPT gave me advice on what time I should wake up and what time I should be in the bed by, and what my daily activities, or at least in that bulk of the morning and an evening, what it should look like. And basically, what it was for is to kind of reset your body so that if you feel tired, sluggish, appetite is off, you're, having trouble losing weight, things of that nature. It was giving me advice on what to do and how you can, because a lot of it, like our bodies are in fight or flight mode. That's that's where our bodies are. And no matter how relaxed you feel, post traumatic stress syndrome is upon all of us. Now, maybe you are managing it well, you are maneuvering your way through it better than most, but it's a reality, right? And it gives something for us to strive to achieve. So yeah, so I there's an actual app. So Gigi, I saw there was an app that that does this, right? But I had a feeling the app was going to try to charge me and upsell me. So I just went to ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT to give me the advice on what it is that I can do. So it recommends that I get up at 6. I should be outside by 6:10, 6:15. I should sit out there for 10 to 15 minutes. It also recommends that I go for a walk, likened to what I used to do before. It recognized that that's what I used to do, and it recommends that I should, like, after I'm sitting out and woo-sighing, I should then go for a walk, at least 30 minutes. And once I go for my walk, then I could come back. When I come back, it actually recommends that I exercise. And I can exercise, be in the shower, and back in front of my computer to stream to do my morning lives. And that is a great way to reset your nervous system. And then guarantee, if I follow those steps, my day is going to go wonderful. Guarantee. I can guarantee it because I've done stuff like that before. And I do feel great. Even if stuff happens, even if traffic occurs, even if you miss the bus, even if your client is showing out, even if they keep calling all of these meetings, which could have been emails, even when all of that is going on, your day will go better. Or let me say this, your reaction to your day goes better. Good morning, Ayenye. Your reaction is better. This is one of the things, like what just popped into my mind is You know how when seniors get older, like you can have a senior who has been driving all of their lives. They could have been driving since they were 13, 14 years old. And now they are in their 80s. And now everybody's like, oh, you got to stop driving. You got to stop driving. The reason why people are worried and concerned about seniors driving is because of their reaction. They don't believe that they're going to have as spontaneous of a reaction. So if somebody cuts them off, if somebody does, so it's not really them, it's the people. But they, it's always that great concern that they won't be able to react. And so when our body is in this fight or flight mode, our body reacts in a way based off of our stressors, based off of our traumas, based off of what we're dealing with. So, in order to reset, right, in order to reset that, you've got to be intentional about the things that you do. So, and yes, Carol, you're right. Like your body is a good signaler. Your body will wave white flags. And oftentimes, because of our schedule, we can't listen. Like, yes, I'm tired, but I gotta go see a client. Yes, I'm tired, but I got this meeting to attend. Yes, I'm tired, but I gotta go fix dinner for the family, right? Like there's always something. But when you are intentional about listening to those signals, it gets your body out of the fight or flight mode so that your reaction will be different. See, if I'm tired, and I used to say this all the time with raising children, especially my youngest, love him to pieces. But baby, when he started that whining and crying and everything, certain times of the month, I'd be like, "Come here, mommy, baby. What the matter with mommy, baby?" And I'd pat him up and mwah, 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 and really, really respond to him and listen to him and tune into him and try to help him through whatever he was going through. But when there were certain times of the month where I was barely, soaring my head above water, when I felt like I was sinking and I didn't even have enough for myself, I can't give you anything. Now I'm reactive. Now I'm like, go sit down somewhere, go to bed, go do this. Now I'm reactive. So maybe the way you are responding to things is because you never come out of that fight or flight mode. And so today, this morning's activity was to reset me, because sometimes the truth is, after sleeping, you wake up tired, right? You wake up tired. You might start then thinking about the stress from yesterday and the days before and all. You might start thinking about the stresses of what you got to do today, and you've got a busy schedule and you're going to be running here and there and blah, 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 blah. That's where your mind instantaneously goes. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Peace Havens Assisted Living. You were missing this weekend at the Nurse Boys Conference because that's where we had met before. So anyhow, the reset. We need the reset. And when we have the reset, we respond better. So yes, I was tired. I was sleepy. But I went outside. I got kissed by God several times. Several times. That was a reset. And even if I didn't recognize it as a reset, it was. And when I become more repetitious with it, when I get into a better rhythm at doing it, that's when I'll feel it. See, many of us think Oh, as soon as you take the supplement, you're supposed to feel it. No, no. No, you don't feel the results of the supplement instantaneously. It's when you take it today, tomorrow, the next day, the next. That's when you'll really feel the effect of it. And many of us, because we don't feel it instantaneously, we abort. You got to give yourself time to adjust. How long have you been in fight or flight mode? And if you're like me and you live in the city, or you live in a busy city, may not be New York City, but you live in a busy city just the same, you're in fight or flight mode. Your environment creates the fight or flight, and your body just has to respond. So today, I'm taking the steps. And prayerfully tomorrow I'll get out there. Right? Because it's the consistency, it's the repetition. And I pray that I can keep it up because I need a reset. And no, I don't feel stressed. I don't feel stressed. Still need a reset. Because what if your mind and your body has just grown accustomed to your day to day, to life's disappointments? You've literally just grown accustomed to it. You've been desensitized. The world has desensitized you. And it's time to get your sensitivity back. But you got to be intentional about it. I'm such a New Yorker. I'm such a New Yorker, right? And when I am in New York, I have to be intentional. Like when I go out, when I'm outside, right? When I'm outside, my behavior is different, right? Depending on what my intent is. So like when I go to work, when I'm going to see my clients, when I'm putting in that work, that's my focus, right? That's my focus. Good morning, sis. That's my focus. When I'm going to see clients, that's my focus. If they are in the city and I'm riding public transportation, I'm in New Yorker mode. I'm in touch not my anointed mode. I am in, guarded up, like just got to get there, right? But when I'm outside, right? Outside, when it's just a fun weekend, I want to meet people, I want to connect. Then I'm in, hey, how you doing? Oh, hi, I'm smiling. I'm engaging in conversation. There's a difference, right? So sometimes I get caught up, right? So for instance, this weekend I was in North Carolina. And the people in North Carolina speak all the time. I know this. My family's from North Carolina. We used to go to North Carolina every summer. And I know this. We would sit out on the porch and people would be walking by, hey. And of course, all the little New Yorkers sitting on the porch would be huffy puffy. Like, you don't know me. I don't know you. Why are you talking to me? That's just how they were brought up. And so they say hey to you as they walking by. They went to the store. They coming back. I just saw you like 2.5 seconds ago. And here you are talking about some hey again. Dude, what is this? But it's how they do, right? They outside. So they are speaking. They are open. They are receptive. but sometimes we get guarded. And so I'm in North Carolina this past weekend, and I was there to do what it is that I needed to do. Right? That was my intent. That was my focus. I had a workshop to present. I was in get it done mode. I was in, all right, Lord, use me as your vessel. That was the mode that I was in. Right? I was focused. But what I noticed in my focus, I hear the little North Carolinian people, hey, hey, but I'm focused. Focused. So we miss it, right? We miss it. So, depending on where we're at, what we're doing, what the goal is at hand, sometimes we are so laser focused that we miss everything else going on around us. It's our response when we're busy, when we got to get to work, when we got to do this, when we got to do that, when we're task driven, we forget that we are also in a world, right? We are also in an environment with other people and other things are going on. So we have to get to a point where we're focused, but we're still aware. We're still able to respond in an appropriate way. And truth be told, I actually like the version of me when I am outside, for lack of a better term. When I am able to be attentive to the things that are going on around me, when my eyes are open and I can see things that are even not there. I like that version of me. Well, how do I get to a space where that version of me shows up more? It comes from the reset. It comes from when I am in a better space. I put up on my Facebook post last night, yesterday evening, that this whole weekend I was in North Carolina, and I'm telling you, your girl was on. It was showtime at the Apollo. It was on time. So everybody's snapping pictures, was smiling for the kid. And truth be told, that's the way the previous weekend was when I was in Atlanta. So I was in Atlanta, and it was showtime. It was lights, camera, action. It was people. It was connecting. It was schmoozing. It was networking. It was, taking pictures with strangers. And so I did that the previous weekend, and then from Thursday to, from Friday, Saturday, it was showtime again. And so it was lights, camera, actions, pictures, people, pictures, people, pictures, people. And I did that for 2 weekends in a row. And then after the conference, and I skipped out of the conference. Don't tell Tammy. Don't tell Tammy, nobody. Don't tell Tammy. But I skipped out. Matter of fact, I told Tammy I was leaving. So y'all can tell Tammy if y'all want to. She's gonna be like, I know already. But I snuck out of the Nurse Boss Summit early. Because my family was having a get together. And so even though I wanted to stay, because there was a session at the end that I really did want to see, but it was time for me to go see my family. It was time for me to shift gears. It was time for me to reset, whether I wanted to or not. And so I went to my cousin's house, and what I love about God is I brought a change of clothes. Now, normally it wouldn't have been nothing wrong with just staying dressed, with what I had on or whatever. But I went and I put on something comfortable because around my family, I didn't want to be on. Hey, good morning, Marakita. Blessings to you. Around my family, I didn't want to be on. So I changed clothes. So that was like a physical manifestation of what needed to take place on the inside. And so I changed my clothes and I came down. I went, I greeted, I hugged everybody, smiled, chatted up, and then received conversation. Not about work, not about performance, not about business, not about anything other than what family can do for you. And afterwards, I said, girl, you were around all of your family who you don't see on a regular basis. Those should have been the moments where you should have been capturing it. But I didn't want to get distracted by the camera. Now, I wouldn't have posted them. That I would not have done. But in that moment, I didn't even want the distraction of the camera because I had just left the lights, camera, action 2 weekends in a row. And my body was like, enough is enough. So I didn't snap not one picture. And the reason I didn't snap any pictures is because I wanted to be in my safe space. There's just a different feeling when you are in your place of reset. Right? Exactly. It's about being in that space, that space where you are receiving, right? Where you now are intentionally receiving your presence. Phones are, I didn't even want to touch my phone. I wouldn't even look, and I knew I was on a time schedule because I had some place to be after that. I knew I was on a time schedule, but I wouldn't even look at my phone for the time. I wouldn't even look at my phone for the time. People had watch. Some people had watch, especially my male cousins. They had watches on, and part of me, as I see them walk by with their watch, I started to say, "What time is it?" But I didn't, because I trusted God for the time. Because just like I have a time for performance, there is a time for the reset and the refuel. And so I spent time in my safe space, and I was able to gain what the performer needed. But when you are in that fight or flight mode, you don't even realize it. You don't even realize it. You don't even realize how long it's been since you've been refueled. You don't even realize it. You don't even realize that where you're currently at is not your place for the refuel. You don't get refueled there. I know it's at your house. Shh, shh. Turn the volume on the phone down. Shh. Don't let them hear you. I know most people think when you are at home, that is where you get your reset. But if the people who are in your home always expect you to perform, you are not resetting. You are not refueling. You are not realigning when you are at home. That is work. That is work. I know when my youngest son is around, he's work, right? Okay, Tasha, love you. He's work. When he comes around, he'd say, "What's for breakfast? What's for lunch? What's for dinner? I gotta work. Dude, I'm at home. I'm trying to unwind and I gotta work with you." So I had to begin to start telling him, like, yo, mom wants to chill. Mom don't want to do X, Y, and Z. Mom don't want to be on. Mom don't want to perform. She don't even want to be mom right now. She want to put her PJs on and just be Shaniqua. And as he started getting older, he realizes that. He still be asking for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But there are moments where he does recognize that mom just wants to be Shaniqua. But because this is what we do, this is who we are, this is what we've always done, we forget. And then we start to think that the life that we lead when we're home is our reset, when in all honesty, it's not. Not unless you make it that way. And now, when my sons are home, one is in one space, one is in another space. I get to be in my space. I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean. I can just be me. But that doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. So if ChatGPT tells your girl to go outside and sit on the porch at 6 in the morning, well, then that's what she's going to do. Why? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I don't want to be insane. I want to be healed. I don't want to be insane. I want to be delivered. I want to be set free. I want to be reset. I don't want to be reactive. I don't want my trauma to make me reactive so that I negate to give grace, that I negate to do what it is that God needs me to do in a particular moment in time because I am reactive. When you're always on, you normalize it. You become desensitized to it. I don't want to be desensitized. I want to be able to do and hear and speak and love as God ordains me to do. So we got to get out of the habit of the norm, the day to day. And we have to intentionally seek our safe space. And when you have your safe space, you cherish it, you protect it. So, yes, social media gets to know bits and pieces about me, but you're not going to know everything about me. There are some things that I reserve because I'm protective. It's not because I don't want you to know, and I don't want you to gauge our friendship because I didn't tell you this or tell you that. It's protection. It's protection for all parties involved. My weekend activities have been full. I want to say for the past, yikes, few, like a whole lot of weekends, my weekends have been full. And every now and again, you might get a picture, right? Like I did drop some pictures from this past weekend. I put up some pictures on my page, on my Facebook page, that is, of me speaking, right? Because I had some beautiful footage captured. So I was able to share that portion. I shared portion of, I received an award and I didn't know I was going to get an award, and I received an award. I'm grateful for that. And I shared that. But there are many, many, many moments. I was laughing with my daughter in love yesterday. I was telling her that I've got 26,000 pictures. Y'all heard me right. 26, 26 comma 000 pictures in my phone. It's in my phone. Matter of fact, look, I'm gonna give you the up-to-date number. 26,006. 26 comma 006. That's how many pictures I have in my phone. There are some pictures I ain't gonna ever post. It's not because I'm ashamed of what I was doing, who I was with. No, no, no. It's because they're sacred. They're sacred. In this world where we have become so desensitized, where we've normalized things that should not be normal, where we react, we're reactive. Something has to be sacred. Thank you, Carol. Something has to be sacred. Girl, Carol, you know you always, 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 always tell me about that flash drive, and I never, never, never do it. I got to do better, Carol. I got to do better. Pray for me. Pray for me. Just pray for me. But something has to be sacred. Something has to be revered. In a world where we're taught to share, 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 something has to be sacred. And even if people, and I recently told this to a friend of mine, because when we post, we help people, right? We help people. When we give our testimony, when we share what we're going through, the good, the bad, the ugly, it helps other people. There are people who are truly blessed and helped and shaped and guided, and they enjoy it. But let us not be so desensitized that we don't realize that there are vultures, there are imps, there are demonic, principalities of darkness also among us. And they use the very people who we are called to help. So we have to be discerning. We've got to be very, very selective. We have to be led. There are sometimes I want to post so bad on social media, and the Lord is like, I didn't tell you to do anything. So I have to erase everything that I was trying to figure out. I wanted to post, matter of fact, I wanted to post some pictures last night. And I was like, Lord, which pictures should I post? He was like, none of them. I was like, oh, shoot. And he was like, the people got enough. For now, they got enough. So maybe y'all get some more pics from my previous weekend. But for now, I've got to be able to hold it. I've got to be able to hold it just as my memories. So be intentional about your reset. Be intentional about resetting your environments. And I guarantee you, your day will go better. Guarantee. So that's it for me. I'm a reset, right? I'm a shift and that's another thing. We don't give ourselves a moment to shift from one activity to the next. We just go, go, go. When I have finished speaking on Friday, um, I did my presentation, The Invisible Expert. That's now one of my signature talks. So if you have an event, and I'm telling you, it was impactful. It was really real because I watched it back and I was like, oh Lord, you did that. She did that. Yeah. That was a good Shaniqua and Jesus combo. But anyhow, when I had finished doing that segment, I needed a moment to come down, and I'm grateful that lunch was immediately thereafter. And so I had a moment to come down from the high. And we went out for lunch, and I was going to ask one of my friends to drive so that I didn't have to, focus on driving and trying to come down at the same time. But then another one of my friends came and said, nah, she's like, she was like, you drove from New York. She was like, you riding with me. She was like, at least I could do is to show you around Raleigh. Right. So shout out to Dewan. So she drove us to lunch, and I was able to just have lunch with friends. Right. And then we were able to pick back up at the conference and all of its splendors thereafter. But most people don't give themselves a moment to transition from one task to the next. So today, this morning, I am going to be intentional about shifting. So I'm going to unwind from this, and then I'm going to prepare myself for the next activity. So you all go forward with your Tuesday. Be intentional. Figure out if you really resetting, because you think you might be resetting because you got your feet cocked up and you got a cup of coffee, but are you really? Is your nervous system really having an opportunity to come down? And I'm just going to throw it out there, no shade to nobody, but if you're pumping it with caffeine, chances are it's not coming down, it's getting wired. So rethink about the things we do to reset and see if it is truly resetting us. All right, that's it for me. Thank you all for coming back when I came back. And we will continue these messages tomorrow, God willing. So you all have a beautiful and blessed day, and I'll see you tomorrow.